Billionaire Warren Buffett is so confident that communication skills increase your net worth by 50% that he offered graduates who'd work on improving theirs $150,000 on the spot in return for 10% of their future earnings.
But if you improve your value 50% by having better communication skills, that's, it's another $500,000, in terms of capital value. See me after the class and I'll pay you, $150,000.
The thing is, most people don't value how they communicate in the same way, and it stops them being able to sell their brilliant idea, product, or service. I'm Nima, and for decades I've trained top executives and leaders to communicate in ways that seal deals, amplify authority, and fuel financial success. In this video, I reveal 5 communication mistakes keeping you poor. Let's dive in with mistake number 1. Fixing this means you don't lose sales, confuse buyers, and miss out on the income and success you deserve. This is something most of the thousands of business leaders and experts I've interviewed for my TV work and when I moderate conferences have done. They think they're doing their job, promoting their brand, company, and credibility by starting answers with their latest developments, achievements, or initiatives. In fact, I was thinking of hiring someone recently. He was clearly an expert, but I didn't sign him on. Why? Well, he made the same mistake. Most experts do, by the way. Let me show you what I mean. This dartboard is everything that you know and can do. This dart is what you share, your message. The mistake that many experts and entrepreneurs make is that they want to showcase and highlight their expertise and credibility, and their message is all about these things, which is a problem because it's all about, them. What you want to do, if you want to hit the bullseye, and the bullseye is your result, say your result is signing up a client, then you need to zone in on the issues to do with that client, because here's the brutal truth. No one cares about you. Sorry. What they care about is how you fix their problems. You could be on a podcast, in a pitch, on stage. You need to give people whose attention you want a reason to tune in and listen to you. And they'll do this when they see themselves in what you share. So you want to go from this to this. So begin your first sentence with something that'll get your ideal client wanting to know what you're going to say next. Instead of starting with I or we, start with you if you're directly speaking to someone. This forces you to share something about them. Make it something that's important to them. If you're being interviewed, you can start with something like, the number 1 question our clients ask us is, or the biggest challenge facing our clients is. Include the specific problem that you solve, what will change for them, why you are the right expert to work with, and how you are different from the competition. And yes, you can start like this and answer the question you're asked. I shared how in my newsletter a few weeks ago. When you communicate this way, you land on the bullseye. Mistake number 1, focusing on you first, makes you sound boring and will keep you poor. The more you tailor what you communicate to what your ideal client wants and needs, the more your value shoots up and so do your fees. But you need to make sure you're not making mistake number 2 if you want them to become a paying client. Let me show you how fixing this means your most valuable clients will want to work with you. Do you share lots of helpful information when you pitch or present? Maybe people say you were brilliant and they learned a lot, but you don't land any business. Then you're probably making this mistake. A client of mine signed a 7-figure government contract by fixing it. Before working with me, they were having meetings about meetings about meetings. The big breakthrough came when my client stopped sharing what they know and could do. Let me show you what I mean. This is my hierarchy of a brilliant communicator, and here is how it works. Inform. Take this pill at 3 p.m. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You're not given a reason to care about it. Educate can be long and elaborate. This pill releases your Y, which your Z needs for X, and makes your C do D, which you need for E. Lots of words, lots of information, but again, you're not given a reason to care about it, and you're not going to be doing anything different as a result. Interest, though, is this. Without enough levels of A, you won't be able to do B, something your client really wants to do. Taking this pill fixes that. Let me give you an example in terms of what I do. Inform. Clear communication is essential in business. You probably knew that. Educate. Communication techniques like framing your message around the client's needs, simplifying complex ideas, and using clear, actionable language increases your influence in conversations and negotiations. Now, that's a lot of words. You could be thinking, thanks for sharing, and then go back to whatever it is you were doing. Let's look at interest. Communicating effectively doesn't just make you sound better, it helps you land clients, close deals, and establish yourself as a trusted authority. Without this, you're leaving money on the table. Now, most experts get stuck in the educate part, but you don't sign clients up that way. Instead, focus on what's in it for them. But that's not all. Pinpoint their pain and priority and share the exact practical things that you do to fix it. This is how my client moved from meetings to a 7-figure signed contract. So mistake number 2 is educating your potential client instead of getting them interested first and then being specific about what you do to solve their biggest problem. It's the difference between being just another option and you becoming their savior. But how do you know what's essential to communicate so you can get these sorts of results? This is where fixing mistake number 3 comes in. Dealing with it means you don't kick yourself after interactions. Let me show you what I mean. There's nothing worse than realizing, you didn't say the right thing to get someone over the line and paying for your expertise. So how can you stop these, I should have said that moments? Well, you do this by building specific elements into what you are going to communicate. I'll show you 2. First, before any interaction, whether it's a podcast, a meeting, a pitch, define the takeaway you want your ideal client to have. I call this the aha moment you want them to experience. Like, aha, I didn't realize this, or aha, I get this now. Or, aha, I had no idea I was making mistake number 3. I now know how to fix it and sign up more clients. Phew! Now, this isn't something you're going to say. It's the idea you plant in the mind of the person you're targeting. When you finish crafting what you're going to share, go through it and ask yourself, does it deliver on the aha you defined? When my clients do this, they become better at cutting out information that takes away from the predefined aha. Now, this is really important because, as the French philosopher Fenelon said, the fewer the words, the greater the profit. Now, the other thing to define is the action you want your ideal client to take as a result of what you communicate. Your aim could be getting people to buy your product, book a call, sign up to your newsletter. Whatever it is, decide what it is and state it clearly at the end and make it simple and easy to do. So mistake number 3 is not thinking of communication as a deliberate business strategy where you define and build in the purpose and guide clients to deliver the results you're after. Without this, your interactions become missed opportunities. But even if you nail this, you can still miss out if you don't deal with mistake number 4, which is all about addressing what's not being said. Let me show you what I mean. Have you ever thought to yourself, I hope they don't ask me about, notice, bring up? These are often thoughts you know people have, but don't say out loud. These are unspoken elephants in the room, issues that form a perception of you and stand in the way of getting the result you want. Instead of ignoring them, bring them up. This turns doubts into trust and moves the conversation on to things you really want to discuss because the unsaid issue is no longer an obstacle. I call this owning your elephant. Here are a few things you can say to bring them up in an easy, matter-of-fact way. One thing I'm asked about a lot is, and you mention whatever it is that's on their mind, I find most people think or assume It's easy to think that because I am whatever it is you believe is the sticking point, I might not be able to whatever you think is on their mind. So mistake number 4 is hoping no one brings up the uncomfortable thing you know they're thinking, but not saying out loud. You bringing it up first puts you in a position of power and increases your worth as long as you're not making mistake number 5, which brings your value crashing to the ground faster than you can say, crash and burn. You'll see how. A clever, successful entrepreneur who exited for multiple 7 figures decades ago is desperate to earn. The money has long gone because of a series of crappy curveballs, and she needs income. Now, she has kept her situation private and is still known for her past success. Recently, she started accepting speaking engagements and interviews which have attracted entrepreneurs who want her to mentor them. Sounds great, right? But she hasn't been able to sign any up yet. And that's because, well, she feels like a fraud because of her financial losses. These doubts leak into the way she communicates with potential clients. When she feels people resisting her offer, she drops her price and starts piling on perks and bonuses. Guess what? People walk away. Now, even if you haven't gone through years of curveballs, you might be making this mistake too. Dealing with resistance by offering lower rates translates into being taken less seriously. It dilutes your authority and depletes your bank account. So mistake number 5 is if you don't believe in your worth, no one will. Undervaluing yourself means others will undervalue you too. Instead, be consistent with what you say, with what you offer, and with your fees. The other thing that increases your fees is landing global PR. Find out how you can get it for free by watching this next video.